What's your opinion on if you should jump in front of a bullet for your wife or not?
Well, so I have a different worldview than Brian does. I'm an Eastern Orthodox Christian. I follow Christian ethics. So under an ethical system, I was enjoying the initial answer by the gal with the ginormous blue cross on her chest, where she said that there is a representation of how men and women are supposed to act as representations of the church, not only in marriage, but also in greater society. But I also enjoyed your answer when you were talking about the ontological differences and that there's greater duties between men and women. The reason I'm testing your guys' logic is because I seem to note that you understand that the men have higher duties, but I'm not so sure that you understand what yours are. So my take on this is, of course, for my wife, I would absolutely lay down my life, and I already have, essentially, right? I've spent most of my adult life taking care of her, and I've spent my entire adult life taking care of my children as well. So I would say that that's already laying down the time of my life to take care of that. But yeah, I would also physically do this, but I follow a different ethical system. And so that's
if I may, I know the verse that I quoted earlier about the husband's role in the marriage. The women's role, I think it's important to talk about as well, because it says the husbands must love their wives, but women respect your husbands. And so that's like
well, that's not what it says. It says that you need to submit to your husband.
Yes, it says respect and
that's
submit.
not respect. That submission is different. That's an overage, right? There's more to it than just respect.
She didn't want to use the word submission because every time the word submission is mentioned when it comes to dating, women attach a negative connotation to it. It's like she's being a slave. They call it being a slave to the man, right? Even with the Bible, they find some way of changing the word. In the Bible, it says submission, but she was talking about respect. So I know she knows the word is submission, right? But she skipped over it because every time the word is used for women to submit to their husbands, they feel some kind of way. Now, I don't know who told them that a woman submitting to her husband is being a slave, but that's the dating we're in right now.
Respecting. Submission does not just mean respect. That means submission, and that's something which is absent in society, and that's why guys like Brian refuse to take a bullet for women, because they refuse to submit to patriarchal authority. And if they did, he would be far more inclined to do so. That's why, by the way, he would do it for his children. He would do it for his children because they see him as an authority, a patriarchal authority in the household, and so he knows that that's his greater duty. But why would he have a greater duty to women who don't submit?
That was
well,
beautiful.
I agree.
That was well put.
I completely.
Yeah, I think every man should be able to sacrifice his life for his family, all right, and that includes his kids, his wife, and maybe his relatives. I'm talking about maybe the dad or maybe the mom or even maybe his siblings, right? But it's got to be somebody worth dying for, right? You're just not going to put yourself, let's say you're a married man, right? You got your wife, you got your kids, and you're walking in the street and there's somebody being attacked and they're going to shoot them. I understand that you want to save them. I understand you feel sorry. I understand you want to do something. But you get responsibilities. There's no way you're going to get into the event happening of someone being attacked. Get yourself in harm's way, maybe get killed, and then you leave your wife and kids just because you are trying to die for somebody. You're trying to protect somebody. That doesn't make any logical sense. In fact, I'm sure your kids and your wife wouldn't forgive you for doing that. You know what I mean? It's one thing to die for somebody you don't have responsibility for and then leave your own suffering, and it's another dying for those you have responsibility for.
I agree, and you're right, it does say that.
Andrew.
And I think that's a huge reason why a lot of women nowadays, like there are issues with women not submitting to their significant other, or
you as well, you have an issue with it because you changed the word from respect to submission, because you have an issue with submission,
their husband, or submitting to the wrong people. And I think that's how a lot of women get to where they are today, is because they've submitted to the wrong person and they've been hurt. And so there's been a response to, okay, well, that must be where I went wrong. When
Well, I'm
really-
not confident that I believe your framework that the reason that there's so many of these women who are damaged is because they refuse to submit. I would actually counter that the reason so many of them are damaged is because they wouldn't do it, right? They wouldn't actually submit. That's what I think is going on. I don't think that they embraced submission and had a bad time. I think that the opposite is true. They refused to embrace submission, and that's what gave them the bad time. For instance,
Yeah, because most of them look at submission as being a slave, as a man controlling you. He's controlling. That's what they usually say. Oh, the man is abusive, or the man is encroaching on my freedom, stuff like that. So
since when we go around this table, the reason we got all the lifetime stories from everybody and made sure that we could get down why it is that you guys, what your occupations are and the different things that you believe. Do you think, for instance, that the gal in the blue, the OnlyFans worker, do you think that she's going to be submitting to a man anytime soon? Because I don't think she is. In fact, she pretty confidently said no. She's not even interested in marriage, not interested in children, not interested in any of that. There's no interest in submission. So I don't think it's a submission issue. I think it's a will issue. They're willful and
I'm
they're
interested in
disobedient.
submission.
And they're disobedient in society.
Only in the
and they
bedroom.
But she's not-
hang on, I'm almost done. They reject patriarchy, and I think that that is the kind of fundamental cause of these flaws.
You're interested in being submissive?
Yeah, I would quit OnlyFans.
Oh, that was going to be my question. So, for example, hypothetical, if me and you were dating and I said, don't like that you're doing OnlyFans, I want you to delete it right now, would you do it?
And you were like totally in love with him.
I mean, I would need to survive, so I couldn't, I'd have to figure it out. But in theory, yes, I would do that. I would have no problem doing that.
the mere fact that she said I would need to survive, I don't believe her. I don't think she would delete her OnlyFans if her husband asked her to. The guy would probably have, let's say she makes, I don't know how she makes, but she probably makes lots of money if it's that, important to her, right? Let's say she makes $50,000 a month from OnlyFans. Her husband she would probably have to ask her husband to pay her the same amount that her OnlyFans makes her for her to delete it. I don't think she would just delete it because her husband asked to. Like she said, she needs to survive. But why do you need to survive if you are getting married? It's assumed the guy is going to take care of you. So I don't think she's just going to delete it just because her husband asks. The guy may have to probably pay her the money she was making in OnlyFans for her to delete. So I don't believe her.
All right, let me read one chat, and then we'll get into the man versus bear, the main topic of tonight. Natalia, can you read this for us, please?
Why do women think? Who hurt you? Is an intelligent comeback? Of course.
Alright guys, that's all I wanted to react to. If you guys want to watch the full video, I'll link it down below to the whatever podcast. And I just want to talk about the submission part. Personally, I think most women these days don't like the word submission. It's understandable to them if nobody has explained exactly the word submission, or if they don't really follow the Christian faith. That could make sense. They see it as controlling, see it as being a slave to the husband, even if they require that same husband to lay down his life for them. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. That's the dating game today. What do you guys think? Comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe. Peace.